On November 17, 2023, an elderly pedestrian named Calvin Johannesson was walking down a sidewalk on Placer Street in Redding, California. From behind, an electric scooter barreled downhill, operating in a space where it was explicitly prohibited. The resulting collision knocked Johannesson unconscious. The person operating that scooter was Lisa Jensen, a local criminal defense attorney who had built a career defending clients against driving under the influence charges. At the time of the crash, her blood alcohol level was 0.05%, marking her third alcohol-related offense. Jensen was riding a stand-up electric scooter, a device powered by a small motor and battery pack that has become increasingly common on city streets. The legal system processed the crash exactly as you might expect. In February 2026, a Shasta County jury convicted Jensen of felony DUI causing injury and reckless driving causing injury. She was sentenced to jail time, 5 years of probation, and a 3-year license suspension. A clear crime had occurred, a trial took place, and a jury handed down a sentence. The books on this particular case appeared to be closed. Then, months after the sentencing, the Shasta County District Attorney's Office made an unexpected move. They filed a motion with the court asking to completely vacate the felony DUI conviction they had just secured. Before we explain exactly why that happened, I want to thank today's sponsor, Shasta Unfiltered. Their in-depth reporting on local events and the judicial process provided the groundwork for our look at this case today. The district attorney didn't file this motion because new evidence cleared the defendant. The timeline of the crash, the blood alcohol level, and the severe injuries sustained by the victim remained undisputed facts. The conviction was thrown out entirely because of a strict legal interpretation regarding what actually constitutes a vehicle in the eyes of the law. The catalyst for this reversal came from a completely separate case hundreds of miles away. In May 2026, the 6th District Court of Appeal issued a ruling in a case called Beal v. Department of Motor Vehicles. This chart explains California's DUI license suspension code. On one side are legally defined motor vehicles, including standard cars, trucks, and motorcycles. The Beal Appellate Court ruled electric bicycles are not motor vehicles under this section, placing electric scooters entirely outside this specific DUI framework. In the rigid context of this administrative code, these specific micromobility devices simply do not exist as motor vehicles. When the Beal ruling was published, Shasta County prosecutors were obligated to apply the new appellate precedent to Lisa Jensen's case. Since her crime involved an electric scooter, the foundational premise required to maintain the DUI causing injury conviction evaporated overnight. However, the defendant does not walk away with a clean slate. The secondary charge she was convicted of, reckless driving causing injury, remains fully intact. Looking at this logic tree, the distinction is clear. The DUI charge fails because it requires a motor vehicle. The reckless glisten charge survives because it's based on the operator's dangerous behavior and resulting harm, regardless of the machine type. A jury looked at the facts and found the defendant guilty of 2 felonies. One of those felonies was erased solely because the legal code has not caught up to the technology being operated on the sidewalk. While prosecutors and defense attorneys debate the nuances of vehicle code classifications, the physical consequences of the November 2023 collision have not changed for Calvin Johannesson. The impact broke his collarbone, caused a deep ankle laceration that nearly caused him to bleed out, and resulted in traumatic joint damage. More than 2.5 years after being struck, the elderly man still cannot walk without assistance and lives with chronic pain. Despite the severe and permanent nature of these injuries, there is currently no public record of Johannesson or his family filing a civil lawsuit for damages against the rider. In stark contrast to the victim's ongoing mobility issues, the defendant has actively petitioned the State Bar of California to delay the interim suspension of her legal license so she can continue practicing law while she appeals the remaining charge. A court ruling can instantly rewrite the legal definition of a crime, but it cannot undo the physical trauma inflicted on a pedestrian. This case highlights a rapidly growing issue for every city. Streets and sidewalks are increasingly saturated with electric scooters and e-bikes, many of which are operating within this exact legal gray area. Until state lawmakers proactively update the vehicle codes to explicitly classify and regulate micromobility devices, prosecutors will be forced to prosecute modern machines using outdated laws. The immediate consequences of this loophole will be tested on August 7, 2026, when Lisa Jensen returns to a Shasta County courtroom for sentencing on the surviving reckless driving charge. When technology outpaces the legislative process, The burden falls heavily on the most vulnerable people on the sidewalk. If you want to follow the outcome of that August 7th hearing, be sure to visit shastaunfiltered.com. And if you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more investigations.